Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. Menopause the musical. I mean, award-winning. It is probably the best comedy that you've seen in North America in recent times. And the good news is that there is now a sequel out. And here to tell us more about it, I'm joined by Mark Zimmerman, the producer of Menopause, the musical 1 and 2. I guess I can say that now, right, Mark?
That's right.
Yeah.
We produce the show in Canada. We have the exclusive rights in Canada to do it.
Yeah, let's talk about the history of this, because as I said, this is multi-award winning. It's known as probably one of the best, if not the best, comedy running. Tell me about sort of the history behind this musical.
Actually, right now it's known as the longest running scripted comedy show ever to run Las Vegas.
Really?
I think it's in its 17th year. So back in 2005, I went to New York, saw a show I wanted to produce in Canada.
Okay.
So I bought the option for it. And when G4 Productions, they won over 54 Tony Awards, found out that I had bought the show, the rights to the show, they called me and they literally talked me out of doing the show and said, look, this is our breadwinner, Menopause the musical. We just launched it in 2005 in Florida, and it's catching fire all over. If you find a theater that you can run it in Canada or in Toronto, it's your show, go make it work, go. And I did, and we brought it to Toronto, and I'm very happy to say we had 513 consecutive performances in Toronto.
Wow.
This goes back post-SARS, so at the time it was one of the longest running shows in Toronto.
Right.
And I've been menopausing almost ever since.
So what's the storyline? Let's talk about the Menopause the musical, the first one. What was the storyline in that?
The storyline is simply 4 women from very different backgrounds meet by accident at a lingerie sale in Bloomingdale's.
Okay.
And they find out that actually, even though they come from different walks of life, they all have a lot going on in common. And that is the change of life that all women go to,
right,
or go through. And through the whole experience and the process, they end up becoming very good friends. And the original Menopause story is told not only through, of course, dialogue, but it's all the hits of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, re-lyricized, parodied. And so everyone can relate to the songs that they hear, but also hear all the way the lyrics have been changed, etc. Literally, I've had men come up to me after the show and say, you know what, I think you've just saved my marriage. Because all of a sudden they walk away with a new understanding of what their wife is going through, or their partner, and they come to understand their partner that much more.
Right, and then when did the idea of putting together a sequel come about?
I guess it was a few years ago. G4 Productions, who owns the master license, began to think it was now time to start looking for a sequel. And so they just literally finished it, and we were given the rights to premiere it in all of North America. And we chose to bring it to Ottawa because we have been here before. We've been at the Gladstone Theatre, which is in Little Italy.
Yeah.
And then we've gone a number of times to the Algonquin Commons Theatre. And I thought for the premiere, it'd be great to stay here for about 5 weeks and produce it in a show. I don't know if you're familiar with the Gladstone.
Oh yeah, beautiful theater.
Beautiful
completely
theater.
Renovated.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's 220 seats, so it's very intimate. And the rake of the theater is such that you're looking down almost like in a bowl.
Yeah.
There's no elevated stage, so everyone is very close and intimate. And the sound, the laughter is infectious, and it's just a beautiful thing to be in.
Does this story follow the same 4 women?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
What's happened is it's 5 years later, and one of the friends has won a sponsorship cruise package.
Okay.
And so she invited her friends to join her on the cruise, so they all reunite for this cruise for a little getaway. So they have a lot of hijinks on the high seas, and they have a great time. And now the songs and the parodies are from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Amazing.
So a lot more hipper music.
Right.
And again, the story is told through the music. And I think what really comes out and resonates with everyone from both shows is that women have so much in common when they go through the change of life, and they really become best friends on this trip. and they bond. So it really becomes a sisterhood.
Yeah, and you know, you say, you know, they found this sort of common thing that brings them together, but how different are the characters from each other beyond that?
They come from 4 different walks of life. We have a moose jaw woman, a moose jaw housewife, who really doesn't get out that much. No offense to anyone in Moose Jaw. We have a professional woman who has spent her whole life climbing the corporate ladder. We have an aging soap star who at one time was in all the films and television, but now doesn't get many calls very much anymore because of her age. And then we also have an Earth Mother who is an ex-hippie, tranquil, loving woman who's now changed because of the changing process.
Gotcha. It runs until June 4th, so this has already had, you know, its beginning, I believe it started in early May, right, the run.
Yes.
What has the feedback been like so far?
It's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Ottawa is absolutely loving our show, and many, many women who've come to the show have said they've seen the original, and to my surprise, they've walked out and said, or maybe not to my surprise, they said, you know what, we love this even more. So it's been terrific. We had our official opening May the 10th.
Okay.
We had some previews before then, and as I mentioned, this is the North American premiere. The show is definitely going to open in the United States in September. Fabulous. But I'm so proud to have had the opportunity to launch it in Ottawa and bring it home here in our nation's capital, and it's just been fantastic.
And standing ovations every
night. Everyone leaves with a big smile on their face. They have a great time, and you know what? In today's world, where so much has gone on since COVID, all of the depressions and what have you. It's wonderful to go out for a night of theater. It's a 90-minute show, no intermission, where you laugh out loud, you walk out, you feel great, you're with your friends.
Can't wait to see it, Mark.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you joining us today. Thanks so much. Again, runs at the Gladstone until June 4th. We'll be right back after this.